Let's bring in Laura Blumenfeld. She is a Middle East analyst, a best-selling author and a senior fellow at Johns Hopkins School for Advanced International Studies. Laura, this seems to be the furthest Netanyahu has gone publicly in rejecting a two-state solution. What do you make of it?
Well, it's fascinating. In fact, as the National Security Council spokesman said yesterday, this is not, in fact, anything new. 10 years ago, when I was working on Secretary Kerry's Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team, Prime Minister Netanyahu was the leader of Israel, and he said the same thing to us. He said that Israel must be in charge of all security west of the Jordan River. And I remember, sitting in our hotel room in Jerusalem, kind of sinking into our chairs in the gloom of that reality, because we understood that that would really be a impossible sell for the Palestinians. That's when the talks really faltered.
Now, the US has now steadily ramped up pressure on Israel over its conduct of the war, and it keeps getting brushed off. How much influence does Washington still have over Israeli policy?
Well, I think what's more important is what they say behind the scenes than what they're saying publicly. I think they're being very clever. They understand that Netanyahu's political viability is fragile at best, and with every given day, it's less likely that he'll be the leader. So at times, what the Americans are doing is actually speaking over the head of Netanyahu directly to the Israeli people and to the new leadership, which they expect will come in, saying things like, this is not pressure on Israel, but it's an opportunity, dangling the idea of normalization with Saudi Arabia, which all Israelis are very happy to embrace. Integration with the Middle East and being accepted by their neighbors is something that all Israelis would look forward to. Also, there's nothing more appealing to Israelis at this point than the word security. Netanyahu, who campaigned on the slogan of peace through strength, delivered war through weakness. So when Secretary of State Blinken says something like, Israelis will only have genuine security when there's a pathway to Palestinian statehood, what he's saying is, Israelis, what you have to understand is Netanyahu has failed to deliver, but for genuine security, there are necessary compromises. And I think that that's the way to security for all Israelis.
Now, Laura, you mentioned Israel's neighbors there. Arab states have been working on the plans to bring the war to an end and a long-term solution. What kind of message does this send to them?
Well, I think that the fascinating thing for me when you look at the Arab states surrounding Israel is that they haven't broken relations with Israel, despite all the pressure from their own populations. The leaders have said, we're not going to cut off the connection with Israel and the opportunity toward a better tomorrow for the entire region. So I think that they're, in a way, the swing states, the swing voters in this referendum. It's a bloody referendum on the Abraham Accords, which connected Israel closer to the region. And the Arabs are the key. And that's why I think the Biden administration is working so hard and pressing the points that are important to the Arab neighbors, pushing Israel for more humanitarian aid, limiting civilian casualties, saying no displacement of Palestinians. They cannot be forced to leave Gaza into Egypt. I think it's because those Arab states are so important, both for the administration, giving them legitimacy and leverage in the region. And also, frankly, if Israelis don't trust Palestinians, they might, in fact, trust the Arab states around them. And there's real incentive there for peace.
Now, the U.S. presidential elections are 9 months away. Is Netanyahu maybe gambling on a changing government?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if they're just waiting each other out, where Netanyahu is looking at Biden and thinking Trump is coming, and Biden is looking at Netanyahu and thinking, we're going to reach out to maybe the opposition party, or there are two members of the war cabinet right now, the Israeli war cabinet, that are about to depart. People are kind of counting down to see whether they break with the government. So yes, there's a little bit of political chicken, who's going to jump first. But, you have to remember that Biden and Netanyahu's relationship goes all the way back to the 70s. In fact, Biden, when he was a young senator, he signed a photo for Netanyahu saying, Bibi, I don't agree with a damn thing you have to say, but I love you. So the relationship is deep, and there are ups and downs, but they need each other, and hopefully we'll work through this.
Laura Blumenfeld there. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us.